what we are discussing? Yeah. So this is what expected out of this course, right? So I think same thing we will discuss here. First 2-3 slides. कैसे हो गया ये? ऊपर कैसे जाएगा ये? ये कैसे नहीं हो रहा है? ऐसा ना? हाँ ठीक है, फिर ये अभी तो होना चाहिए. हाँ ठीक. Very briefly, first of all, why UPSC basically came with this paper. Okay, anything you have additional opinion, different opinion, against opinion, please raise your hand. See, generally, and this approach, why I'm telling this, I'll let you know. Don't consider that as some GS topic where you read Lakshmikant and you write answer. You read Uma Kapila and write answer. Okay, you read somebody's notes. You see the questions, you'll understand it's not that straightforward. At the same time, it is not technical also, which is the case in optionals. What it is? So it is basically UPSC's effort to make you ethical. Actually, it's very laughable in a way statement, in the sense we can make joke of it. But it is effort. They also know it's not going to happen that way, but they also know it is not going to go waste. How it will happen, and why I'm telling this process is, you also should understand this process. You will recognize, you will understand, and you will appreciate basically. Yeah, whatever happening is for good, and then only you can open up your other experiences in your life, and you will find, or you will feel that अरे ये भी तो इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. Because most of the questions, it's not that you have to read from the notes. See, this is normal understanding, basically because of our education system and our preparation otherwise is that there is something called book which knows everything. Whatever written in the book should be written here and should be written there, and you get marks, right? Very less, and this, this particular these things gets collapsed, especially when even in optional also, UPSC gives some slightly tricky question paper, in the sense of, people say बहुत applied आ गया इस बार तो. What does that mean? That we could not apply. Applied means what to apply. Actually, we think that we have to apply public administration in society. No, you have to apply with your mind. You applied your memory, that's good. You have to apply your mind, and that application of mind is required very much in ethics, because there is nothing. Okay, मैंने ये उस नोट से लिख के आ गया. ऑप्शनल में ये होता है, नोट्स है एज इट इज. कभी कभी तो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन आता है, राइट शॉर्ट नोट्स ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर प्लेट टेक्टोनिक थ्योरी ज्योग्राफी का एज इट इज रिटन बाय दिस XYZ थिंकर. यहाँ पे ऐसे नहीं होता है. तो ये अच्छा भी है, बुरा भी है. बुरा एज इन बिकॉज वी आर हैबिचुअल टू दैट, हमें समझ में नहीं आता, फिर पढ़े तो कैसे पढ़े. और यू ऑलवेज रिमेन इन दैट, you always attach this kind of yes, mysticism to this, कि पता नहीं क्या है ये. जबकि अच्छा इसलिए है, like essay, you may not, how much time you give for essay as compared to GS 1, 2, 3, and sometimes your marks in essay would be more than your GS 1 and 2 put together. Some of the, most, not all the times, but many of the times, the toppers. And if you ask them also, they're like, no, I just kept writing essay. But the point is, again, the data for the essay, the knowledge, everything came from the GS only. So please keep this thing in mind. When it comes to content, the warehouse is your normal study of GS 1, 2, 3 and current affairs. But how to bring that, kind of things in warehouse to this paper is what we are going to study. It's the fastest method to get better marks. And I assume that otherwise, it's not that, out of sudden yesterday you decided to do UPSC and today you are sitting here. Most of you already have an idea as to what kind of questions come. What is this integrity, honesty, corruption, governance, compassion. Some things at least you know, right? Okay, the same thing that I was talking about. Basically, what happens when you study something, you understand intellectually. That's what they are expecting. That's what they are expecting from this. Right? So how it happens basically is when you understand something, okay, for example, take case of compassion. Not that you are not, are you like anyone here sitting who has not experienced compassion? But somebody who doesn't know English, will he understand this question? कोई हिंदी वाला है, वो बोलेगा कंपैशन पता नहीं, मुझे करुणा पता है. बेसिकली क्या है, एक्सपीरियंस इज देयर, नेमिंग माइट differ. Okay, but when you understand something, we understand in whichever medium language we are studying, and we also associate that particular thing, compassion, with many experiences that we already have. Before studying this, you may not be in the position to associate that to many topics or many experiences that you have gone through. But when you understand things, ऐसा होता है बहुत बार कि उसको कंपैशन बोलते, फिर तो वो तो मैंने बहुत बार एक्सपीरियंस किया है. ये बहुत जरूरी है. Why? Because that experience is what you are going to write in exam, if it is presentable, I'm saying, or not your own experience, whatever you read in exam, read in newspaper, you might have seen, read in some novel, good novel, like well-known types novel, or maybe some very popular art piece, maybe it a movie or a art, theater, whatever, that well-known mythological things. But that will only happen if you know. If you keep picking up examples that I will use this example, that is very lame kind of, I'm not saying that is not going to help you, but that is not a wholesome way of doing it. In case that example doesn't fit in, then point is, whatever examples, you have lived at least 20-25 years of life, and you have read many things. Okay, how to dig that up, and then and that the double benefit of that is your answer remains very original. Please try to understand this. Otherwise, everybody is writing that crisis of conscience means जो अर्जुन को हुआ था. भाई अर्जुन को ही नहीं होता ना, बहुतों को हुआ था. आपके जिंदगी में भी कुछ crisis of conscience situation आई होगी. You understand what crisis of conscience? I am assuming all this that you know. And in fact, we'll also cover 2013 में 2013, yes, they have asked this question, that what is crisis of conscience, and narrate an incident in your life and how did you overcome it. So how basically, see, what UPSC has done is, especially with respect to ethics, if you see, even in case studies, initially they have kind of spoon feeded us, like, this is the kind of way we have to bring out the options for the case study. Okay, these are the thinking pattern that we want you to think. And then they shifted the gear last 3-4 years. Now they are asking proper questions. They are not giving any options in case study. They are asking you to devise the options. How to devise the options? Many people ask me, like, I'm not able to understand as to how to bring out the options. Arey, go back to 2013, see how they have done UPSC themselves. Before that, they have come with, literally, they initially, because 2013 we were aspirants, in the sense that was my like third attempt types. After selection it was. So 2013 when attempt was there, they had given one sample paper. So everybody is like, sample paper giya hai. Same question came in examination, but nobody knew that it will come now. Okay, the difference, what do you understand by values, and how values are different than morality, something simple question. Okay, coming back to the point. So when you understand things, in the sense intellectually, then you appreciate it, in the sense it makes sense to you. Okay, aisa bhi hai. Otherwise, what happens generally when we hear things, अरे ईमानदारी, ठीक है ईमानदारी वो तो चलता रहता है. But when we read in books, we understand why, how. Like last year question आया है, how integrity makes human empowered. So this is exactly opposite to what we believe in normally. Integrity वगैरह weak हो क्या? झूठ नहीं बोल सकते, दिमाग नहीं है normal parlance में. So that's the reason. See, you need to understand why UPSC is coming with this. And what I'm saying is a starting point to what we can say, to establish the narrative in a way, direction, to set a direction. I'm not saying कि इतना ही है बस जाके पढ़ लो, नहीं. This is the starting point, and I would be very happy to very happy if you also agree to what I'm saying, because most of the people who study ethics, they think ethics study करना अलग होता है, जिंदगी में ethical होना अलग होता है. I know अलग होता है. I'm not saying वो एक ही है. आज आपने मान लिया कि मैं तो ethical हूँ और कल से एक भी गलती नहीं की, ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. But the difference can be reduced slowly, and it happens. And this is out of syllabus what I feel, because I have been studying ethics since 2013 and teaching last 3 years also. You know, more and more kind of this exam gets kind of UPSC conducts this exam with ethics. More are the chances that better people will get into. But you will say, I know the force from the opposite side is much high. You know, the force to make you unethical is much high. This is like very small thing, but at least something is better than nothing. Ye approach bhi, whatever approach I am saying, optimism about the good things, goodness in life, this also is required while writing answers, because you never know how it will come out in your sentences. So first, try to kind of think in that way. At least think. I'm not saying act, because I'm not going to come and monitor. Nobody is going to monitor. जो monitoring system है वैसे भी आपकी क्या monitoring system होती है? Otherwise, whether you are doing right thing or not wrong thing, what is the most effective monitoring system? You know, correct, conscience. And how the conscience gets developed? Something like this. Like हम सब बैठ के अगर decide करें, okay, उस ग्रुप में वो हम देखेंगे इथिकलिटी ग्रुप बेस्ड कैसी होती है. लाइक इन पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप देयर इज सम एथिकल रूल्स, larger group there are different ethical groups. Sometimes both are counter. You know, what we consider ethical in our friends group may not consider in a larger society. It happens. Okay, anyway, so when you appreciate, like you have some kind of, okay, you understood and you have some kind of sense of worthiness to it. Appreciation means sense of worthiness. Then obviously you start inclining towards it. Is it okay for you, or you want fan? It is too cold for you. Okay, light, too much light for you. Then this so incline means what happens is you start inclining towards it, means automatically at subtle level, and I'm not saying it's very suddenly your personality will be changed, but at least at subtle level you start thinking that okay, ये सही है तो क्यों ना यही किया जाए, unless there is something very pressing reason for you from other side, right? Obviously then if it goes on, and if you start doing it more, obviously you internalize it, and then you live that life slowly if in that direction, because there are many values. Sometimes if you see, values are individual specific also. Like somebody thinks punctuality is very important, इवन इन ऑन, जैसे रोड पे अगर किसी एक्सीडेंट भी हुआ है, नहीं मुझे टाइम पे पहुंचना है, मतलब पहुंचना है. अभी इस सिचुएशन में व्हेन यू आर कमिंग टू क्लास और गोइंग टू सम अदर प्लेस वेयर if you reach half an hour late, nothing is going to happen as such, because it's a normal office day. I'm not talking about UPSC interview वाला, that typical, you know, UPSC interview जा रहे हैं, वो तो अलग situation हो गया. But normally when we believe that punctuality is my thing, I never go late. I have asked someone else to come there. He or she has given their time, but on the way I am finding this situation, some small situation where I might be required to spend my 15 minutes. What would you do? So situation क्या है इसमें, सही गलत वो बाद में देखेंगे. In fact, though सही गलत is what we are discussing here, I'll tell you kind of a secret only. In UPSC thing, वो question, especially in case studies, they seem to be asking questions where they know the right thing and they are asking you whether you are going right or wrong. Tell me now. It's not the case. They don't want right and wrong answer. They want how did you reach that answer? What is your justification for the answer? So in this particular case, if I'm telling that no, I will kind of try to reach on time, maximum 2-3 minutes extra I will give, make some arrangement in the 2 minutes, run faster than normal and reach in time. I don't know whether the next person whom I have given responsibility or explained something or something will do it or not, I don't know, but for me punctuality is important. Now what happened here? Punctuality is more important for you than responsibility or compassion for that matter, because if somebody is like some small thing. I'm not saying somebody's accident and somebody's about to die. That's gravity of the situation is different. Then you can take different decision. But normally, whenever they also ask case studies, what is the stand that you're taking is not important. How did you reach that stand? What is your justification for the stand? And furthermore important is, what is the articulation of that justification? Like, how did you write it? English bowls. I'm talking about English basically. So in what language you mentioned it there, number one, and what did you mention it? Anyway, stand तो सबको पता होता है कि सही बात करने में, जिंदगी में वो तो nobody will take wrong decision, no? कि ब्राइब को पूछ रहे हैं, ब्राइब लेंगे तो आपके घर वालों को फायदा होगा, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, तो नहीं लेंगे भाई, सिंपल है। लेकिन क्यों नहीं लेंगे? कौन से वैल्यूज जो है कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो रहे हैं? वो नहीं लेने से क्या कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो रहा है? दूसरा, बिकॉज समटाइम्स देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन वेयर यू आर सिटिंग इन द पैनल इंटरव्यू, एक बच्चा आता है जो किसी का सन या डॉटर है, जो आपका बॉस है गवर्नमेंट में, एंड ही और शी सेज टू यू दैट इफ ये यूपीएससी की केस स्टडी है, इफ यू पास, मतलब उसको थोड़ा ज्यादा मार्क्स दो, मैं वो फंड पास कर दूंगा फॉर दी स्लम रिहेबिलिटेशन दैट यू हैव बीन आस्किंग फॉर 3 years। समझ में आ रहा है? तो लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, अभी हैव यू बीन काइंड ऑफ witnessing what is happening in Maharashtra politics? But you know this RA forest issue? Yes. Okay. It is a good issue to be used in ethics also. मतलब otherwise it's not a regional issue. It's a big issue. Environmental ethics का कुछ problem आ गया तो आ जाएगा। तो मान के चलो you are DM there. There is a person called Ashwini Bide who is a IS officer. She is head of this Maharashtra Metro Rail Development Corporation, जो भी MMR something. She has been putting that we want this car shed into the RA. There are environmentalists and things like that. Now, मान के चलो you are environmentalist and she is removed and you are sitting there as IS officer. Then what happens? Then the CM there, straight away CM, because वहाँ पे CM ही erstwhile CM, अभी जो deputy CM बन गए फडणवीस, he is through some people calling you and telling you to do it orally. वो रिटर्न में नहीं दे सकते to implement it or do something else. So, and now point is here, you know, personally it is going against me because I am an environmental conscious person and इतनी सारी पेड़ तोड़ना, वो भी मुंबई जैसी जगह पे जहाँ पे वैसे भी pollution का issue होता है. But they have got all the procedures clear. Even, and this particular thing happened. High Court also, Supreme Court also, Green Tribunal, all they said that okay, you can go ahead because details different. वो तो फिर पेपर 3 का इशू हो जाएगा कि डिटेल कितना, किसका क्या ऑर्डर आया, कितने ट्रीज है, कितना हेक्टर है. माय पॉइंट इज, यू नो पर्सनली दैट ये गलत है, गलत इन द सेंस आपको गलत लगता है. क्वेश्चन भी ऐसे ही आएगा, अकॉर्डिंग टू यू थिंक दैट इट्स अ डिग्रेडेशन ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट एंड देयर कैन बी, अकॉर्डिंग टू यू, पॉसिबिलिटी दैट यू कैन do something else for that, like you can build it somewhere else, some alternative. Now would you listen to it, would you resign it? ठीक है, now इसमें resign करो, कोई issue नहीं है. There are people who resign. Okay, if you think no implement करना है, okay, I will go in, you know, in detail and convince myself against my present this thing. Stand important नहीं है. In that I just took, this is not exactly what is there. I'm taking the case from it and just creating small issue for you. What I'm trying to say is, stand is not important. Yes, it is important because you know what is right stand, but how do you reach to that position? And why I'm saying this is, most of the students make this mistake that they think stand is everything, and then they become defensive and they just take some stand and they don't know how to justify because now they have taken some stand. So reaching to the stand is more important than thing. Just in the flow we're discussing. And then this is for exam purpose. What happens is, that's initially I said, if you start thinking in that way, ethical and all, it's not just in your words, your friends and others also will start feeling. I'm saying if somebody is seriously taken ethics ka, thing and you got good marks. Now marks, it's a different story, because if you see the examples, instances, you may think that अरे वो तो कहाँ ethical बंदा ही नहीं है, he got 120 mark ethics, मैं इतना ethical हूँ, मुझे तो 90 ही मिले हैं. वो comparison में कोई point नहीं है, because the last stage is more important. You might have taken the football till the net, but there is no person for you who can finish it. Perhaps he has that also along with whatever it is. Basically, are you able to express it also in the paper? And that comes, can anybody tell me ये कहां से आएगा? मैंने कुछ चीज मतलब जो ऑब्वियसली मेरे कोर्स में जो बोला मैंने दो चीजें उसमें से एक चीज यहाँ की रहा है. हाँ, और anybody else? How do you think ये complicated? हाँ, how do you think this will be achieved? Answer writing. You write daily, automatically some words become so handy to you. Though these words become part of you, that it will come out. Some words will get added to you because you write, somebody suggests something, you read something. Because what happens when you write your own answer, and if you read similar question, somebody else's answer, somebody else's article, some article in sometimes Hindu में भी कुछ लोग आर्टिकल ऐसे लिखते हैं जो एथिक्स के बारे में हो. You take terms from it, you automatically process हो जाएगा, and then your answer become better. That's the logic also for all this thing, right? Any question you can ask. This I think briefly we already discussed. ठीक है, but again it's just creating that, बोलते हैं ना, setting the rules of the game. कि how do you look at the paper? Looking at, like for example, for better understanding, what I generally do is like GS4, GS1 is General Studies 1, History Geography जो भी है, GS2 is Polity IR, GS3 General Studies. Basically you have to study, that is intellectual understanding, which is general topics. General means 10वीं तक जो पढ़ते हैं वो general का मतलब वही होता है, and 10वीं में होते ही इसलिए हैं because they are general. Otherwise later on it becomes specific. Optionals are specific topics. But what I understand is it is not studies, it is sense. But obviously it will come through studies only. You have to read, but then the last thing, you have to reach somewhere that you automatically the sense in you is ethical. The sense, you understand the difference between study and sense? Sense is something which, like for example, you might not have studied anything about that topic, but you still understand इसमें सही क्या है, गलत क्या है, राइट क्या है, रॉन्ग क्या है. जैसे मैंने अभी जो हमने केस डिस्कस की या फिर उसके पहले जो डिस्कस किए, ये कहीं किताब में लिखा था क्या कि जैसे आप इंटरव्यू पैनल पे बैठे हैं और कोई आपको ये करने के लिए बोले तो आप ना बोल देना. ऐसे कोई कौन सी किताब में, लक्ष्मीकांत में है या कहीं नहीं है? तो ये कहां से पढ़ा आपने? ओके, सही गलत कहां से सीखा है आपने अभी तक जितना भी सीखा है? सिलेबस में तो है ही, रोल ऑफ फैमिली, वही चीज है. Why do you think they have put in syllabus? Not because some book somebody had written somewhere कि ethics मतलब ये. तो वो चीज क्योंकि हमारा inculcation of ethical values वाला जो हमारा सिलेबस में है वो वहीं से तो आया है, राइट? तो उसका देखना, इट्स नॉट जस्ट अ जीएस पेपर, जस्ट अनदर जीएस पेपर नहीं है, एक तरीका है. कैसा है? जनरल सेंस है, वो आपको समझ में आ गया, मैंने बोला क्यों. This is just another way of defining the same thing. Now, this is my own observation because I do take interview batches here, so I know what questions ask. कुछ panels पे भी मैं बैठता हूँ, तो I ask questions. So see, there are some theoretical question in ethics. There are some case studies in ethics. Theoretical question means what do you understand by? What is your understanding of emotional intelligence, whatever. And case study means what? आप ऐसा ऐसा है तो क्या कर लोगे, वैसा हो गया तो क्या कर लोगे. This is exactly what we ask in interview also. Some questions are technical also, I understand, optional. But when it comes to situation, ठीक है कि ऐसा ऐसा है, आप वहां पे डीएम है. जैसे उस समय क्या था, पिछले साल दिल्ली में राइट्स हुए थे, 2020 की बात कर रहा हूँ, इंटरव्यू में हम बैठते तो मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल यूज्ड टू आस्क दैट क्वेश्चन कि वहां पे आप अगर एसपी है तो क्या करेंगे. दूसरा, लास्ट ईयर if you are India's ambassador to Afghanistan, क्या करेंगे, क्योंकि उस समय वो चल रहा था. सिचुएशन ही है और क्या है, ठीक है. सो एथिक्स इज एक्चुअली लाइक अ interview on paper. This is just one of the, it's not a all comprehensive strict mathematical description of it, just way of looking at it. If you look at it that way, it will be easier for you to grasp it. ठीक है, मेरा और एक चीज रहेगा, मेरा ये एक पर्पज रहेगा कि आप जैसे ऑप्शनल है, I can tell you guarantee, more you read and write, more marks you will get it, whichever optional you have, because depth is more important in optional. More and more nuanced approach you have, you will understand. Obviously writing होना चाहिए, because whatever nuanced approach, it should not be like 60 marker PhD thing, even if you might have done graduation and MA in that topic, 10 mark में लिखना आना चाहिए. But here, more than depth, your that sense, that coverage in the sense of whatever happening around, that should be reflected in paper. It is like essay. Most of the, tell me, what is the difference between this question, if I'm asking you, be the change you want to see in the world? कोट है, किसका है? गांधी जी का है. वो ऐसे आ सकता है, ये इंटरव्यू में पूछा जा सकता है. मतलब क्या है? That question is same. What would you write in essay, which you will not write in ethics paper? Essay, only difference is you will expand it, because it's 125 marks. Expand it in many different aspects, economic aspects, social aspects, obviously environmental detail aspect like global warming, and ethics में you will take it in a different way, that I have to be responsible, less resources, more contribution. इतना ही difference है. Okay, so what point I'm trying to say is, whatever you are writing in ethics, and ये question आ चुका है by the way, ये 2013 का ही I think कोड था. पहले वो तो लग ही रहा था कि एक दो गान, मोस्टली ये भी देखना, हर साल, पिछले साल छोड़ के, आई थिंक पिछले 1-2 साल छोड़ के, आई थिंक दे गॉट एग्जॉस्टेड. गांधी जी का एक तो कोट आता ही है, लाइक एक मान के चलो गांधी आएगा, एक मान के चलो एक वेस्टर्न का आएगा, प्लेटो, अरिस्टोटल, नेपोलियन, समबडी. बट ऑफ लेट थोड़ा शिफ्ट, क्योंकि खत्म हो गए, कोट ही खत्म हो गए जो डाल सकते हैं. कोट्स बहुत हैं, लेकिन डालने लायक कोट्स खत्म हो गए. मॉरल कोट्स के साथ साथ कुछ कोट्स ऐसे भी आ रहे हैं, कोट्स का भी एक अलग हम लेक्चर ले रहे हैं, कि जाते जाते बस बोल रहा हूँ कि मॉरल कोट्स के साथ ऐसे कोट्स आ रहे हैं जो इंस्पिरेशनल, डेडिकेशन, ऐसे भी आते हैं. विवेकानंद का पिछले बार का कोट भी वही, ठीक है, जो परसिवरेंस जानते हैं, मतलब ठीक है, सतत प्रयत्न जो होता है उसके, तो उस पे आते हैं. एनीवे, विल कम बैक. एंड देन हाँ, व्हाई इट इज नॉट, दैट्स द पॉइंट, व्हाई इट इज नॉट जस्ट जीएस 1 2 3, बिकॉज ये जनरल स्टडीज नहीं है, सेंस है. तो हाँ, माय पॉइंट इज, डोंट गेट बम्बार्डेड बाय द मटेरियल. Okay, please try to, I'm not saying material is not important. Once your basic understanding is over, no need to mug up. Other papers, you are required to mug up something. कुछ चार्ट याद रखना पड़ता है, कुछ टर्म्स ऑप्शनल्स में, और अभी पॉलिटी, हिस्ट्री, वो भी एक तरीके से छोटे छोटे लेवल पे ऑप्शनल ही है, क्योंकि पॉल साइंस ऑप्शनल है, उसका पॉलिटी, हिस्ट्री भी ऑप्शनल है, ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल है, ऑप्शनल सब है, टेक्निकल टॉपिक्स हैं. एथिक्स टेक्निकल टॉपिक है, हमारे सिलेबस में नहीं है. Nobody is going to ask you bring out the nuanced difference between the position held by John Stuart Mill and Bentham, not Kant. दोनों यूटिलिटेरियन ही है, दोनों में क्या डिफरेंस है, ये नहीं पूछें. That would be for MA ethics person or somebody who is having ethical studies as optional, not here. There is not, because somebody asked me this question, I'm saying, why are you putting so much this thing? They are not going to ask, and in case they ask, in case 2-3 साल में एक आध बार पूछेंगे, गलती से पूछेंगे वो कि जॉन स्टुअर्ट मिल और बेंथम में अपने आप में क्या फर्क था. यहाँ पे they have not even used John Stuart Mill versus Kant, like they have not even used this term also, utilitarianism and consequentialism or deontological approach. This word also they have not used. What they have used is, what you do, the ethicality of what you do depends on what the result it will give, or some ethical value that you will be required to follow while doing it. किस पे डिपेंड है. they are not talking about that approach because they don't want you to go technical. समझ में आ गया? इस मामले में जनरल तो वो है, and that's why don't get into all these things, right? मार्क्स का तो कोई कंपैरिजन ही नहीं है. what is the on an average mark? I'm not saying some data, जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन जीएस 1 to 3 में एवरेज मार्क्स कैसे आते हैं? 100 मतलब 3 डिजिट मतलब अच्छा है, वो इन होगा अगर ऑप्शनल में अच्छा है तो। एथिक्स में जो सीरियस कैंडिडेट्स हैं 100 के ऊपर ही रहते हैं, 120, 108, 125 बहुत ही अच्छे हैं तो मतलब फर्क। और हाउ मच टाइम कि मुझे एथिक्स करना है, हाउ मच टाइम डू यू गिव एज कंपेयर टू हिस्ट्री, ज्योग्राफी, पॉलिटी, इकोनॉमी, एनवायरमेंट, साइंस, एग्रीकल्चर, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट। तो एंड ये गलत नहीं है, आई एम नॉट सेइंग यू आर रॉन्ग और मार्केट इज रॉन्ग, नो यू आर राइट। ओनली थिंग इज क्योंकि वो जो प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं आप, इट्स नॉट फॉर जीएस 1 to 3 ओनली, फॉर जीएस 4 and एसए आल्सो। सेम इज द केस विद एसए, ethics and essay very similar because case study, take quotes as I was giving example, even 3 quotes तो आते ही हैं, उसके अलावा 1-2 quote ही रहते हैं statement. It is similarly problematic, you know, you find it so and you struggle to bring out the answer for these quotes and theory paper as equal to what you find it in philosophical essay का कुछ आ जाता है, पता नहीं चलता इसका लिखे क्या, सिमिलर फीलिंग आ जाती है कि इसका भी कुछ पता नहीं उसका भी। अगर आपका अप्रोच वैसा है तो कि मैंने जो पढ़ा है वो मैं कैसे लिखूं, मतलब एज इट इज जो जीएस 1 to 3 में चलता है। तो यहाँ पे अप्रोच थोड़ा खुला रखना है, सिंपल जितना लिखेंगे मार्क्स आएंगे। मैं आपको लिख के देता हूँ, जीएस 4 की सिर्फ बात कर रहा हूँ, एसए की। ऐसे अभी जाते जाते बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि दोनों ब्रदर सिस्टर टाइप ही हैं, समझ लो। जीएस 1 to 3 में ऑब्वियसली करंट अफेयर्स, कनेक्शंस, फंडामेंटल राइट्स का जितना लिख सकते हैं, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज जितना लिख सकते हैं, इकोनॉमिक टर्म्स जो भी है, थियरीज हैं, वो सब लिख सकते हैं ऑब्वियसली, जरूरत जहां है। और पढ़ा होना चाहिए उस साल में क्या हुआ, लाइक दिस इकोनॉमिक सर्वे, व्हाट इकोनॉमिक सर्वे इज सेइंग। डू यू थिंक रीडिंग ऑफ इकोनॉमिक सर्वे विल हेल्प इन जीएस 4? नो, डायरेक्टली नो, because they are not going to ask, that will be checked in paper 3. ठीक है, so I am just kind of urging you people just to open up these things, then you will find that I already have so much of things, it's like वो spirituality में बोलते हैं ना कि आप ही के पास है सब कुछ, कहाँ इधर उधर, जो बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट है वो तो मिल जाती है जीएस 1 to 3 से। उसके अलावा बिकॉज नेक्स्ट लेवल है ना, ये एब्स्ट्रैक्ट साइंस, साइंस है भी नहीं है, पता नहीं है, बट है जो भी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट है। एथिक्स क्योंकि जब आपकी बेसिक नीड्स पूरी होती है तभी जाके वो मैस्लोस का जो पिरामिड है उसके हिसाब से देखा जाए तो हु डू यू थिंक एथिक्स इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट? जिसके लिए फॉर देम फॉर हुम बेसिक स्ट्रगल्स ऑफ लाइफ आर ऑलमोस्ट नॉट देयर। जैसे रोटी के लिए, घर के लिए बहुत झगड़ना नहीं पड़ता, एलीट बेसिकली दे विल ओनली टॉक अबाउट एथिक्स। डू यू नो, यू कैन कनेक्ट दिस विद दिस। ये मॉडर्न इंडिया में एक ऑब्जर्वेशन आता है क्या कि जो अपना इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट है किसने लीड किया? हु लेड द इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट? मिडिल क्लास, अपर मिडिल क्लास। व्हाई? बिकॉज दे ओनली हैड टाइम टू थिंक अबाउट आजादी एंड ऑल दैट। okay, so same is the case with ethics. Otherwise somebody who is somehow struggling, वो उतना unless वो ingrained through religion, that's where the religion plays the role, by the way. Even if somebody is struggling for the daily life, why he or she would be ethical, then indoctrination is required, that is given in religion. So that's why religion is a mass ethical training of ethics, and that too to those who can't even afford to follow it. That's why religion के खिलाफ बोलने वाले कौन होते हैं? एथिस्ट हो गए, कम्युनिस्ट, माओइस्ट। कम्युनिस्ट डोंट एग्री, they think that मार्क्सिस्ट बोलते हैं ना कि ethics is the opium of masses, religion is opium of masses. They think it is okay to hold gun in the hand. Why? Because they realize कि अगर religion हटा दोगे तो पता चलता है कि इतनी मतलब जिंदगी से अच्छा है तो गोली मारो। So their ethicality completely changes because religion is removed. Are you getting what I'm saying? That is the connection there. Anyway. ये तो चलो कोई। What are different types of questions that they ask? Is basic question, personal experience, sometimes personality also they will ask. Quotes obviously. 30 mark. One more thing, have you realized 120 marks, 120 marks, sometimes 130 also, is for the case study. Sometimes they have asked 20 mark case study so that to make it 130. But chalo 120 पकड़ते हैं. And then 30 marks. These are like literally, you just need practice, nothing else. Solve all the codes right from 2021 to 2013 back. Solve all the case studies with proper approach, which we are discussing now. बचा कितना 100 marks जो थियरी होती है, ठीक है, उसमें से कुछ थियरी जो इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस वगैरह की होती है ना, ऑलवेज सिंपल क्वेश्चंस कम. दिस व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस कम से कम 3-4 बार आया है. अब देखना कभी एनालिसिस करना, उसमें क्या ही हर बार, मतलब कम से कम 2-3 बार लिख लो, वैसे भी यू आर रेडी फॉर द आंसर. तो एथिक्स के लिए, इसलिए एथिक्स के लिए बचता क्या है, बिकॉज इसके लिए कोई केस स्टडी के लिए कोई किताब है जो पढ़ के आपको केस स्टडी बढ़िया समझ में आएगी, ऐसा नहीं है. प्रैक्टिस करो वो तो है, और अप्रोच होना चाहिए. डिस्कस करो तो बेस्ट है. Okay, what we are doing is also interaction, because somebody who knows is telling you, so that your initial momentum is created. Same is the case with case study. We will be having around 5 lectures for the case studies, because case study का marks देखो, half of the question paper is case study, right? Ethical analysis, obviously every question, that's what we are required to do in case studies, situation based. So these are the types of the question that they ask, right? We have not yet started our lecture number 1. Have you realized this? Answer writing, this also we will see. This very briefly I'll just go through, because we will be discussing question answer, so you will understand, because it will be so repetitive for you, it won't be new for you. Demand, arguments, ethical values, substantiation, ये आपके आंसर में होना चाहिए. Demand, you bring out what exactly is the question asking, what is your argument in the form of answer, what are the ethicality of that argument. Like obviously ethics में whatever argument you give, it has some ethicality, no? Some value being upheld, some value being compromised, whatever. And then examples to substantiate that argument. If you are talking about compassion, then examples. That's how theory part you write the questions. वो आ जाएगा, और भी क्लियर आपको पता चल जाएगा. कोर्स डिजाइन तो आपको पता ही है, ठीक है, वो पढ़ा होगा आपने सब. बाकी if you are ready, we can, not today, tomorrow onwards, 10 minutes we can write inside the class, but it's all up to you. In the sense, sometimes people say, no sir, हम घर में लिखते हैं, and genuinely they will write, but यहाँ पे you speak, because we are here to listen to you, like that. Whichever way you are comfortable. I would prefer that एक 10 मिनट कभी भी बीच में या पहले या लास्ट में you sit, write, and then we can discuss like that, whichever way. So daily answer writing generally वैसे होता है. So you tell me, or if you're okay, I'll straight away one question जो practice question है उसी में कर देंगे, ठीक है. ये तो मैंने आपको बोल दिया है, पर्सपेक्टिव बिल्ड करो, डिस्कस करो, आंसर राइटिंग करो, एंड रीडिंग, रेडीनेस टू टैकल द, दिस इज लाइक योर रेडीनेस कि भाई ये क्वेश्चन, अरे ये तो कहाँ से आ गया वाला फील आना ही नहीं है. जैसे जहां से भी आया हो, आई विल राइट, बिकॉज ऑल क्वेश्चंस आर गोइंग टू बी लाइक दैट. नो क्वेश्चन इज गोइंग टू बी एज आई ऑलरेडी, मेरा वो हमेशा रहेगा, नो बुक, दिस बुक एंड दिस क्वेश्चन, अरे ये तो नोट से आ गया मेरे. I will tell you, in fact, even if you feel it, your answer is going to be very narrow, because then you're going to just copy and write somebody. And ethics may, you just write simple things, your own things. You will be surprised that you're getting such a mark. Simple things. Okay, so this is what expected from the course. Nothing more, nothing less. ठीक है. ये तो बहुत बार बार यूज होते हैं. नाउ यू कैन से थोड़ा थोड़ा लेक्चर शुरू हो रहा है. आप लोगों में से ये, ओके ओके शिवम, गुड. आप लोगों में से सुबह से ये पहला लेक्चर ऐसे कितने हैं? आप दोनों का है, बाकी कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही रहे होंगे. वी वर ट्राइंग वेरी हार्ड टू कीप दैट लेक्चर इन द मॉर्निंग, बट देन संतोष सर ने भी बोला कि मेंस के लोग हैं जनरली, दे वुड आल्सो प्रेफर थोड़ा लेट इन द डे. सेकंड, वी ऑल्सो हैड सम लॉजिस्टिकल इश्यू है, बहुत सारे लेक्चर्स आपको ही पता है, वहां पे लेक्चर बहुत लोगों का वहां पे भी स्किप करके यहाँ आए हैं ना, तो ठीक है. एंड प्लीज पार्टिसिपेट एज इन इवन व्हाटएवर यू फील कि ये नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है, गलत है, ऐसा क्यों नहीं कर सकते. एंड एडिशन इज ऑलवेज वेलकम. यू मे सी लाइक समटाइम्स पीपल थिंक दैट क्वेश्चन है तभी पूछना है. नो, कि सर इसको ऐसे भी पर्सपेक्टिव से देख सकते हैं क्या, प्लीज डू दैट. Because what will happen, I'll tell you, whenever you say something in the class, it is only you who are going to remember in the examination, because you have said it in front of all. Others are not going to actually remember unless somebody has noticed it, maybe written it down and practiced it later. So there only, if he says something, she will kind of use it, but for sure he will use it because he in front of everybody said. So please say all this. ठीक है, okay. ये पता है एथिक्स इज अबाउट ग्रुप, मोरालिटी अबाउट इंडिविजुअल. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग, एग्जांपल दे सकते हैं कोई ऐसा एग्जांपल जो आपके मोरालिटी में नहीं है लेकिन ग्रुप की एथिक्स में इसलिए फॉलो करते हैं. नो, टेल, डोंट टॉक अबाउट, सी, गिव योर एग्जांपल, सिंपल एग्जांपल एंड नॉट लॉज. यस, no. Now I'll tell you another thing. Now you said telling lies. Would you like I lying to you? No, then I'm not lying. Then it's not serious enough issue. Are you okay if whatever way I'm just telling you that आज क्लास नहीं है and class तो हो रहा है? Would you like it? Appreciate, yes. And then why do you think I will appreciate that? Sir, मैं आ जाऊंगा and you are not coming. No, barring you will lose the lecture, you will see, that's another story. So lying in any group will not considered. We'll come to that. Some universal ethical values में आ जाता है वो. You might want to say something else. You wanted to say something else कि friends के group में कुछ अलग होता है. But that, what exactly it is? Anybody?
Like this is an example what I consider, like my uncle, my mama. The group morality is that you have to marry and procreate, right? Patriotism, but he's against marriage and he wants to stay single for life. So it's like his morality is, I don't want to burden anyone else with my life, right? And the group morality is patriotism, that you have to procreate and further the family.
See, yes, no, I would not say wrong, but see, morality is always about what I will do to impact you, not impact me. What I will do in my life is not morality. It is in the sense that society will perceive it and get impacted. That is indirect. I'm not saying wrong, but I would not consider that because it is my life. Now मैं यहाँ पे टाई पहन के आऊं या कुर्ता पहन के आऊं, हो सकता है आप पे कुछ इंपैक्ट हो, बट वो इंपैक्ट इनडायरेक्ट है, यू हैव नथिंग टू डू विद इट. बट मैं यहाँ पे टाइम पे नहीं आऊं, इट इज एब्सोल्युटली इमोरल फॉर मी, but unethical also. You're getting the point. So when it comes to morality is always two. You're getting? If what I want to do in my life is, see, that's what customs and traditions are not always part of ethics, and obviously not part of law. That what is the difference in law and ethics and customs and traditions? Enforcement. Yes, perfect. So it is codification of ethical values, sometimes customs and traditions, and codification, and in order to enforce it in such a way that somebody who obeys it will be rewarded, somebody who violates it will be punished by an authority. तो ये क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है बाय द वे, लॉ और एथिक्स में क्या फर्क है, क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है. बट बेसिक मतलब समझ में आएगा, बेसिक आइडिया ये है. फिर भी ये नहीं बता पाए आप कि ग्रुप में ग्रुप हैज सम एथिक्स but your morality says something else.
Hobby can be corruption. If I do corruption, can be a way I can do other means it can be end to something. But if my group, my friends see corruption as a bad thing, but for me, if I see that as end to something, the me thing may be different.
Now, here, rather than corruption, what you're talking about is you are subscribing to the view of utilitarianism and not deontology. We are talking about any value that you think that society expects you to follow with respect to others, not just with respect to me. Obviously, that's why I said your example is not wrong. You can give that example. Like in the similar way, if we say vegetarianism in India, okay, even now it is considered moral. Why? How do you understand it is considered moral? I mean ethical. Because whoever is vegetarian will always say very, in the sense will very with a loud voice and a sense of pride that I have left non-vegetarian 3 years back. And somebody who is non-vegetarian will say, "Ha, it's like अच्छा लगता है मुझे." He will not appreciate himself. This happens in India. Very unlikely that somebody who proudly says that I am a non-vegetarian. That is also in a reaction only, not genuinely. Why? Because there is a killing of animal involved. So, whatever reason, no, at least in India, non-vegetarianism will never get higher moral pedestal than vegetarianism. At least in India. Other places also it is the same. Yes.
But just being like diet choices aren't like personal.
Yeah, that's what. In the similar way I said. But you are right. But here you are killing someone wala they bring in. So animal morality, yes.
If I bring that vegetarian and non-vegetarian thing in the answer, because there can be divided. If I come south, the culture thing is different.
Yeah, I know. Even in
Like that example, someone is correcting the answer from south, can I?
See, I am not saying you have to put that non-vegetarian is wrong. I am telling you how it is perceived because you are killing an animal to fill your stomach. I am not saying that all the societies consider it wrong, but there is always always a higher pedestal given to vegetarian food or somebody who is not required to kill someone to eat unless there is a situation like that. You yourself think. You ask anybody to think. I'm not saying you propagate vegetarianism. That's another political issue. And I understand that because I'm also coming from the part of the country where non-vegetarian is like very, how can you not be non-vegetarian? Aisa. But when you think, okay, you understand that if you're required to kill someone who can feel the pain, because see, ethics is all about what? Compassion is all about what? If you're required to define compassion, how do you define? Efforts to reduce/eliminate pain of others. Increase तो बाद की बात है. Okay, so and then naturally these vegetable items are naturally meant to be eaten by, and it is still not established that they are sentient beings. Sentient beings means somebody who feel pain. That is in detail debate. उसमें हमें नहीं जानना है. हम बोल रहे हैं how it is decided. So when somebody, what I was trying to communicate is vegetarian and non-vegetarian, there is a sense of higher pedestal to a vegetarian thing. Now you said even in South India or southern part of India, we should not call it South India, southern part of India, also somebody who is non-vegetarian, for some reason, when he quits it, he feels a sense of higher moral authority. इसी कारण के लिए मैंने छोड़ा है. डिफेंड करना मुश्किल नहीं. आई एम नॉट सेइंग डिफेंड करना मुश्किल है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट इज डिफिकल्ट. आई एम सेइंग देयर इज बिकॉज यू सडनली declare that for me at least no animal is getting killed. At least that much I have achieved. Now whether I will also stop eating milk because there also animals are getting punished. I stop eating eggs There also, that's next level. But at least one thing is that, okay, and that's how the society's morality, that's what point here I was saying is, I may not agree to this thing. Okay, kya matlab marna marna kya hai? This is how scientific this food chain works. So I may not agree to this moral argument of not killing. So this is the example. But here, why I gave this example as against your is, here it is directly killing someone else. Okay, so that is the difference. Homosexuality is also example there, but again there similar kind of thing, that you are not harming anyone. If it is consensual, there is.
They might not accept it. So that could be group ethics or
You are breaking group ethics. As I initially said, example is not wrong. And in fact, we will also talk about those examples later. But take example or classic example of sati or any social change during that time. There we can depict how ethics was different. People is like, if she is not going along with the funeral pyre of her husband, she is impure or she is something wrong. Forget about. And now it is exactly opposite. Somebody even asking it is wrong. You wanted to say something?
dowry is still considered a status thing. Like if a person is not demanding a dowry, there is something wrong in that. So can that be?
Yes, very much. And here also you are involving the other party, because see, point is simple, but still you are saying some part status symbol, I agree, but does that mean it is considered ethical? Ethics means, see, there is a golden rule of ethics. Did you notice the golden rule on the first page? What was it? Yes. If you were in the position of father of daughter, will you be very happy to give the dowry? No. So how it is ethical? Status symbol is given to somebody who can cut 10 heads also. I understand your point. Society creates, but when it comes to sati, it is even considered by women themselves that in case my husband goes off, I'll be grateful if I could gather the courage to go sati. Those times, it is my duty towards my husband, died husband. So somebody who is doing it felt that it is ethical thing. Erstwhile Dalits of those times, untouchable, felt that it is my moral duty to follow the caste system. How can I sit in the same pedestal with some upper caste is sitting or dominant caste is sitting of that time? That is, and that time somebody like Ambedkar comes and explains, or Phule comes and explains, and many other people came. Then their morality could not grasp this as to how. Even many religious leaders also, saints also used to talk about it, but that was from a different point of view, like sabka atma ek hai, and then why puch neech wala. But again, they also challenge the ethics of the society of that. So ye do teen example de sakte. Patriarchy, wo to example, sati is the epitome, but otherwise also. Yes. Yeah, you can say that, but that debate is different because it is completely non-secular field. They are not exploiting anyone. In the sense, there is a Bhairavi temple where men are not allowed. It's not, if any discrimination is wrong, you are actually bringing in discrimination. So, but they are giving some religious reason for that, for the religious reason, religious thing. Getting the point? So you can write it, and first of all, it's still being discussed. So little hazy to put that as a thing. Okay. Values, we'll see in human values. Conscience, have you, this is apart from question, this syllabus, I mean lecture, have you felt this sense of like conscience? मेरा वाला conscience है किधर, समझ में नहीं आया. सब बोलते conscience, जमीर. Okay, have you ever felt कि you have felt your own conscience anytime? How? And I'm not asking this as a moral or status question. If no issues, no, कोई issue नहीं है, मुझे पता है वो है. You even if you say मुझे तो पता ही नहीं कि मेरा conscience कैसे, ऐसा नहीं है, फिर भी I know you are a good person, that's why you have at least reached here. तो वो तो issue नहीं है, but I'm asking, have you ever felt कि अरे इसी को शायद बोलते होगे conscience, or you are not felt? Okay. Something of your own. Okay, great. No, that's okay. I'm not at all asking the question in the sense of what it is. That is called cognitive dissonance. Okay, कि दिमाग में पता है ये wrong है, कर रहे हैं, पता है कि ये करेंगे तो और दिक्कत हो सकती है, कर रहे हैं. You want to say something? Correct.
Now my example is
No, nothing stupid. You just tell the example.
I felt something under my feet. I was at a public place, barefoot, and I felt something. So I was like, crush कर देता हूँ, पता नहीं क्या देखता हूँ. So instead of crushing, I saw it कि कहीं चीटी वीटी ना हो, तो वो चीटी थी, तो I think कि
नहीं, but उसमें नहीं ये सही है, but इसमें conscience, see, जैसे when you break your conscience, what happens? You know, there is a term for this in ethics. You know that term, you use it many times. Something arises in you, guilt. There is sense of uneasiness inside. What you mentioned is also guilt. When somebody is trying to lose weight and somehow find suddenly that I'm eating biryani, I like biryani, for example, and I'm putting efforts to reduce my weight, I feel guilt. Now, this is personal ethical guilt. There is no other person in case. Yeah. So we ourselves named it cheat meal, no? So cheat means what? Cheating means unethical, means guilt. But these are small examples. There are larger examples also that you know that what I'm doing is wrong for someone else. But I am somehow, due to my material desires, most of the time, due to some other ethical value being compromised, you feel guilt. Sometimes it happens like, for example, you want to attend the lecture, you really have kind of confessed to the teacher that I will always come offline to your lecture, but somehow because of some other reason you could not come, you feel something uneasiness. Now, if the other reason is strong enough, uneasiness is less. So guilt is also comparatively. Why? Because you compromise one, but you are obviously trying to uphold something, no? When you uphold something, that is ethical value only you will uphold, no? So when you try to uphold some other ethical value and compromise dusra, that is called, when one ethical value standing against the other ethical value, it is called ethical dilemma. And if there are three ethical values standing one against each other, it is called ethical trilemma. Basically, it was just a, वो तो फिर नंबर ऐसे ही बढ़ जाए, ऐसा होता है कभी कभी, ये करें ये करें ये करें, तो वही है दूसरा. So ethical dilemma का definition, when two right things, if you do or stand against each other, if you do one, you compromise the other. The word to be used here is, when you uphold the one, you compromise the other. When we uphold the other, you compromise the first. That is ethical dilemma. Fairness, reasonableness. This fairness is not about fair and lovely wala fairness. Okay? This is fair. This is just wala fairness. You know what is the meaning of just? Not just in time wala just nahi, just abhi aaya wala just nahi, justice wala just. So just means justice. It is coming from the word justification. So something is just means something can be justified on what? Reasonableness. Reasonableness means what? something can be broken into logic and reason and then substantiated. That is justice. So that's why the word just, justification and justice are similar, and they have strong connection with reasonableness, and this reasonable is also coming from the reason. That's why only human can be moral. Dogs can be emotional, not moral. Okay, their morality, yes. There was a question that we mistake emotional or feeling wise things that you do positive for others being moral. It's not morality. Morality should always spring from reason, not emotion. Even Buddha's compassion is not emotion. It is coming from reason. Emotion is just a what we can say, tip of that particular activity of being ethical. Yes.
They are not so moral for university, which are not university.
Yes.
So,
For example,
in the case of sublimalism, there was a debate between constitutional morality and social morality. The social morality stated that women should not enter the temple because it has been a custom there, and for some reason it was considered impure. The women of male beauty, they should not enter the temple. That should be considered as social morality. But then it's not based on reason. It is based on some custom or tradition that is going for a long time.
correct.
So how can we say that morality is based on reason?
They have their own reason, no? Have you heard the other side? What did Indu Malhotra said? That she said, she did not say that it is right or wrong. First of all, it's a religious matter. First of all, constitution should not indulge into religious matters. But Indian constitution is not that secular wala, watertight, you know that. They give their justification that it is not about menstruating women. It is about the God sitting there has their own rules. Now, why can God have rules? First of all, it's not a secular thing that you expect God should be following the Newton's law of gravity. If Hanuman can take Meru Parvat from one place to the other, where is the gravity? Will you ever ask? No, he will just bow down to the Hanuman or whichever God. Because religious aspects are different. And that was actually a debate from the other side. We have our religious justification. As I was also talking about, there are some temples. You go to Kamakhya temple in Guwahati, during some period time, men are not allowed in some vicinity of some meters. Why? Discrimination नहीं है क्या? Tradition है. उससे क्या secular / material harm हो रहा है बताइए. And another thing, the temple entry movement for Dalits was clear cut, like temple ban on Dalits is clear cut discrimination. Why? Because all the temple in that area will follow that, because it was based on the discrimination principle that Dalits himself are impure. And here it's only one temple, not that God everywhere, only that temple women cannot go. Other temple women can go. Some temple men cannot go. Some festivals and temples are only for transgenders. South India is exactly, I don't know, Karnataka somewhere. Tamil Nadu. What would you say about it? So now this is exactly the debate. This will not come in paper 4. Paper 2 में आ सकता है या paper 1 में भी Indian society में कि how much we should intervene on all. That is still being debated. What your question is correct when it comes to traditional. See, if you really want to depict the issue of, I generally use traditional morality, not social morality, because social morality also, better word is traditional morality, because it is coming from tradition, and constitutional morality, which is coming from the constitution. The best example is patriarchal values and caste system. Tradition says this, constitution says nothing doing. In fact, Ambedkar is the first person in Indian narrative to discuss this constitutional morality issue. He discussed it in the parliament only in the context of, or basically in the context of caste and patriarchy. So best example is to give this. Rest all other things very, and first of all, they're still being discussed. So you never know which direction. Even as you doubted, this might be the case here, that somebody who is checking the papers, you never know in what color he is thinking. Even intellectually also, he might have read books from the other side. No, ये तो सही है. फिर ऐसे हो जाएगा ना, you are bringing in uniformity. किसी भी मंदिर की कोई स्पेशलिटी नहीं रहनी चाहिए, सब मंदिर को सेम होना चाहिए, सब कुछ नहीं हो सकता, वो तो अलग इश्यू हो गया. Integrity, you know what is, like, can you define integrity? Coherence, the best, correct. Best word is unity or coherence. So integrity, like we say, it is the integral part, like the part which is integral to it means very, very similar and one. But here the meaning is coherence in the context of, see, generally it is assumed that your conscience will never tell you what is wrong, considered wrong, right. तो ये तो assumed है कि conscience है, मतलब वो right and wrong का right ही दिखाएगा. वो conscience is the compass which will always show towards right. Now the problem is how much inclination you have to follow that right, that much amount of integrity do you have. It is considered that. You're getting the point. So conscience कभी गलत नहीं दिखाएगा. मतलब सूरज कभी दक्षिण में नहीं आएगा या पश्चिम में तो बिल्कुल नहीं आएगा. प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आपको डिसाइड करना है कि सूरज उठते समय जगना है या सूरज जाते समय जगना है. वो तो आपको डिपेंड है, सुबह सुबह उठना है या शाम को 4 बजे उठना है, वो तो अपना चॉइस है. तो बिकॉज मोरालिटी कैन, सी, यू नीड टू ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड बेसिक थिंग. Morality can come into picture only and only if there is freedom of will. Because if I am putting gun on your head and asking to slap her, you will slap her because you are saving your life. You are not doing it on your. In 2000, when first time they came with CSAT, there was a passage which मेरे दिमाग में अभी भी रहता है वो. I could remember that, which was about this moral concept, that if I am sending, आपका क्या नाम है? Blemin. If I am giving you some packet to give it to someone, you trust me. उसमें drugs हैं. And on the way, you don't know anything. On the way, somebody caught you. In the sense, police caught you, जो भी. Forget about legal actions. Where you, and it is considered that whomever you will give it, will be actually in big trouble because ये harmful चीज है. Were you doing the wrong thing? Were I was wrong or not? Absolutely. Whether he was wrong. Yes or no का जवाब दीजिए. Yes or no ही है जवाब. Yes. No. ओके, मैंने उनको ड्रग दे दिया, उनको पता नहीं पैकेट में क्या है. जाके, आपका क्या नाम है? आकाश को जाके दे दो. और उनको ये भी नहीं पता है ना कि उसमें क्या है, लेकिन वो खाएगा तो आकाश को तो हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट करना पड़ेगा. और उनको देते समय somebody caught him on the way. पुलिस एक्शन छोड़ो, whether he did the wrong thing. आकाश, हाँ. और आकाश was required to be hospitalized. मतलब मैं ऐसे ही बोल रहा हूँ. No. Correct. No. Because he's not applying his any freedom of will in doing it. Had he any knowledge that this is something harmful to Akash, why would I done it? Why would I do it? And if he would have done it, he would have been doing wrong thing.
You can say one thing. It was his moral duty to ask the
No, why? See, point is, he trusts me. I have broken the. I told you initially, he trusts me. Otherwise, why would he do my work? He trusts me, and he took the packet and gave. So the point there is also, if you're doing it something out of pressure. Yes, you want to say something?
No. I just really have read in most, like ignorance of the act is not an excuse.
No, it is an excuse. Unless you can prove it. If he can prove it, I literally, sir, I don't know. Obviously, why would he be punished? But problem क्या है? Ignorance in this case, it is generally doesn't happen. वो बंदा पूछेगा ना कि भाई क्या है इसमें? So that's why it is not generally police don't take any cognizance of it. What I'm trying to say is unless there is a discretion, application of discretion, there is no morality. If you apply if you do something out of some other thing in mind, it is not moral or immoral. ठीक है? Rationality. What is rationality? And how it is different from objectivity? Correct. And objectivity? Correct. So, when it comes to rationality, the word is reason. Objectivity, it is fact. See, from very briefly, ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं है. फिलोसॉफी में ये फिलोसॉफी से ही ऑब्वियसली आए हैं, रैशनलिज्म, एम्पिरिसिज्म, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, वहीं से आया है ये चीज बाद में. फिलोसॉफी में द प्रोसेस ऑफ नॉलेज इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी लाइक दिस. देयर इज समथिंग और देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच विल बी नोन. लाइक ये ट्री है, ये पेन है. There is you who will know the pen, the color of the pen, size of the. You are the person who will know it. So there is always three things for any knowledge to happen. Very skeleton understanding I'm telling you. The known, the knower, and the knowledge. Now tell me, normal parlance mein, this is what? Object. And this is what? Subject. So subject is generally used for something which has consciousness. That is human being basically. So that's why king and subjects. Okay. इसलिए हम बोलते हैं कि हम कोई ऑब्जेक्ट थोड़ी है. Don't objectify me. Don't objectify women. Means what? Don't consider them anything than subject. Because if I objectify women means I am taking away the consciousness in them. I am just considering them as object like chair. From subject object, the concepts of subjective objective have come. So subjective means based on subjects change, modifications. So mere moods, my prejudiced, my residual knowledge, उसका कलर अगर ओपिनियन को लग गया तो वो सब्जेक्टिव हो गया. मोस्टली ऑल ओपिनियंस आर सब्जेक्टिव होंगे. यस.
Then he's asking him to like drive 90 kilometers because he has to reach to the meeting. And the driver is driving, and in the way he met in an accident, and like they are very like the other person is scared. They met. So clearly the driver does not have a freedom of will, but still he has some freedom.
You are only saying. So to the extent of freedom of will, he is culprit. And to the extreme of not having freedom of will, he is not culprit. I'll tell you. So, if there is no one sitting out beside and he kills someone, 100%. If somebody is sitting beside and the person is asking, bhai slow chalao, and still he is doing it, double ho jayegi with respect to him also and him also. And when somebody is sitting, now with what instrument the person is compelling the other, उस पे डिपेंड होगा. इनफैक्ट कोर्ट में भी यही डिस्कस होगा कि क्या ऐसा दिखाया था, प्रेशर करने के इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स क्या थे. ये तो अज्यूम करेंगे कि बॉस है तो प्रेशराइज तो किया होगा. ठीक है. ही ऑल्सो मान के चलो, कोर्ट में मान के चलो सब सच बोल रहे हैं. ही ऑल्सो एग्रीज दैट यस आई वांटेड टू रीच, सो आई आस्क्ड हिम टू ड्राइव फास्ट. उसमें फिर डिपेंड करेंगे कि कितने प्रेशर किया था एंड डिड ही हैव एनी ऑप्शन बट टू नॉट ड्राइव. To that extent, he is guilty. I am not saying he is not guilty. In that case, he did not even know what is happening. Okay, yes.
examples or the terms of legal.
No, bilkul don't do that. Same thing, if you want to say it simple words. No, because somebody who is checking may not know what you're talking about. Just imagine tomorrow I am checking your paper of UPSC. I don't know your term only. Not because it is wrong. It is because, see, your answer should be examiner friendly. Why do you do subheadings, underlining? कि भाई देख लो अच्छे से लिखा है मैंने. Why? It is not exam where you show your knowledge. It is exam of competition. You have to show that my knowledge within that, whatever 1.5 minute that he is going to see your whole answer. So law may you use it. Some terms which are normally also used, okay, status quo ante, locus standi, these kind of things you can still use. Not because they are wrong, as I said, because maybe with the fear that he may not know it, he or she may not know it. That's why this happens in interview also. Like आप कुछ बोल देते हो, then somebody other side of the table may take it like क्या झाड़ रहे हो चीजें बस. You never know what mood they will go in, na, for no reason. It is just being cautious, not being anything else, right? Yes.
Ethics, how can we bring objectivity?
No, morality is not subjective. No, that's what we are going to discuss. Morality is coming from whom? What? See, Kant is the very influential person who explained this subjective objective thing. In fact, his definition of objective subjective is like this. If something is subjective in the same way for all, it is objective. So he is a very famous quote. Okay, so the world is a dream that everyone dreams in a similar way. So it's a reality. तो हम लोग एक ही चीज, like we all do the same thing. Maybe it's a dream. Okay, as Shankaracharya said, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. This is all. See, if you see in Matrix, you will understand. This might be really a dream. Have you seen Matrix 1? So it can be actually a dream. But then everybody is following it, so let's follow it. There are some agents, there are some realities. And considering this dream is difficult to continue this, at least, will it reduce your pain? The whole Buddhism stands on this suffering. Have you ever heard any practicing Buddhist or intellectual Buddhist or academician Buddhist? They'll tell you. Do you know this person called Yuval Harari, who wrote *Sapiens*? He's a क्या बोलते हैं उसको, Israeli person, and he's declared gay, married a boy, a man, and he dedicated that book. It's awesome book, highly intellectual book. Barack Obama himself said that it's the best seller, everybody should read it. And this person is a Buddhist. Now, Buddhist not in religious terms. He comes to India and 3 months he sits in ashrams. So he says that the basic principle of Buddhism is everything can philosophically, everything can be denied. This remote exists, doesn't exist, we don't know. World can be just drama, you never know. And you can't beat this logic, by the way. Like, now, slightly philosophy, you have to stop me somewhere if it is going beyond. When you are sleeping and when you are in some dream, like you are in dream, you're riding a cycle going somewhere. Do you ever felt during the driving that cycle in dream that this might be dream? No, never happens. When you are in dream, you will always feel that is the reality at that point of time, unless you wake up and then you realize, oh, it was a dream. ऐसा कभी हुआ है कि अरे ये तो ड्रीम चल रहा है, रियलिटी तो मैं सो रहा हूं? Have it ever happened to anybody? Never. कैसे हुआ है that आप सो रहे हैं, नींद में सपना देख रहे हैं? Are you everybody is similarly okay with Hindi, or you have to compromise? Then I should never shift to Hindi. but I'll try not to. I'm trying still, but sometimes you are in Delhi, so that flow में आ जाता है. So what I'm saying is, when you are in dream and when you are actually visualizing whatever dream it is, suddenly in the dream you are in some some mountain of chocolates standing, whatever, and that time you realize no, ये तो dream है, ठीक है, बाद में मैं उठूंगा. It will never happen. How? Anybody have felt that these dreams? Yes. Yeah.
I have dream of it, but I know in the dream that he has died.
It does happen. It happens.
Okay.
Question in the poor in the place you are the
No. This I have this even no philosopher will agree. All the philosophers are standing on this edifice which you are countering. Maybe to nowadays people are thinking much or too much, but normally I have not experienced any time in my life when I am in dream. The moment I come out of the dream, maybe for some microseconds I may wake up because of machhar kaat liya or something. Then again when I sleep, I'll go back to some other dream. Point is this: when you are actually dreaming, you find that is the reality and you act according to that dream. If in the dream you are running, you start sweating inside the dream. ठीक? When you wake up, you realize, oh my god, that was just dream, leave it. So the question arises, what is the guarantee that this is not the dream that you are sitting in the class? Oh, maybe क्लास तो कल से एथिक्स की बैच शुरू होने वाली, मैं तो एडमिशन लिया था आज इसलिए मुझे ड्रीम आ गया. So that's exactly what is the basis of matrix. That this is also a dream, but that you will never realize when you are in dream. That you will only realize when you wake up, and that's why the word for spiritual this thing is also called awakening. So then you realize. Anyway, let's come back. So the point is, objectivity is not subjectivity. So basically, this in ethics, philosophy में मैंने explain कर दिया what objectivity is. Ethics में it is just simple thing. I will not bring in my prejudices and I'll try to be as fact-based as possible. Being an administration is very important. Now, and when we say facts, it also includes constitutional values, laws, everything. I'll go according to the procedure, law and things like that. Not like मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि ये राम मंदिर तो बनना ही चाहिए. No. आपको क्या लगता है important नहीं है. Whatever procedure says, whatever law says, whatever constitution says, as an administrator, you should follow. What politicians will do, that is their thing. I'm just giving you an example. ठीक है? You want to say something here?
If we follow the letter of the law,
Letter and spirit both.
yeah, the objective. Somewhere way to fulfill ethicality or morality.
ये question आ चुका है. मतलब point is, what you are trying to reduce objectivity to is letter of the law. If you go to the spirit of the law, obviously it will take care of the compassion also. No spirit of the law, and spirit of the law is the most holistic way of looking at law. Now, for that you need a lot of understanding. In the sense, how would you understand spirit of the law unless you understand spirit of the constitution? So, what do Supreme Courts do? In the light of the spirit of the constitution or in the light of the minds of the forefathers who wrote the constitution, always everything will be interpreted. Not just कि आज कुछ निकल के आ गया इसलिए. No, not everything will be decided on the basis of that. So spirit of the law is a very broad term. It's not just of that law. Like एक law बोलता है CA law लेके आ गए. If you are non-Muslim, only you can come in. Okay, then obviously Supreme Court ने अभी इसलिए तो halt हो गया, बहुत सारी चीजें हो गई. उसको broader perspective में they have to look at it. Will it actually create any problem? And then ethicality is other thing. There is a practicality also. Maybe goody it might look very good thing, yes, good, every Indian will be NRC also, every Indian will be cataloged and all. Is it practically possible? That's another story that policymakers have to do. But this is a public administration question, not ethics question. But in basic, is it right or wrong? Ethics will only talk about it and try to chase the right. That's the only stuff ethics will do, right? Compassion. Most of the मतलब जो ethics की पढ़ाई करते हैं कम से कम integrity, compassion ये तो पता ही, like you somehow you know it, I assume, but still the word compassion, it is coming from compassion means basically the word camaraderie, compatriot, companion means together. आप जहां है वहां पे. Passion means the kind of feelings or whatever happening inside you. So the point is basically compassion is the honest effort to reduce your suffering as if it is my suffering. And why we have to mention as if your own suffering, because it is always assumed that if I am in pain, I will certainly put efforts to reduce it. So to that extent, if you reduce or if you put efforts, it is compassion. ठीक है? Online folks, I hope you are with us and you are understanding what we are discussing here. Mrugaja and Shivam. ठीक है? So now we are coming to, how we are going to do it is obviously there are 4 chapters. Now this is only my part, by the way. It's not that we are not going to do the governance part. The other person, because who has PubAd and Pol Science background, will be in the better position to explain. So Chandan sir, IRB पढ़ा रहे ना आपको? हाँ वही वो पढ़ाएंगे. This is not including him. This is just my thing. So that's why don't get this thing. So today we will be discussing about this. I hope like during the course of discussion till now we have discussed many things which fall under this, but we will still see. Tomorrow we will see human values. Day after this, then moral thinkers, and then quotes. Case study is completely different 1 week. This is for next week, 5 lectures, no? Then 5 lectures, and then case study 5 lectures, 15 lectures. So that's where we are starting our first lecture, 9. But it's okay if 10-15 minutes आगे पीछे तो होगा ही नहीं. It will be more only, but because your time is very important, most of you are writing exams, so if it goes like 9:40 and all, it's okay. If not, let me know, like anybody having problem, nahi sir 2 घंटे ही, like only 2 hours we can give, something like that, but we'll try to cover. My point is, because this is only 15 lectures, so keep it packed. After that, yes, I think discussed with you, whoever had come to me before joining, come to me, I think you also, with you also. The point is, the plan is this. You might have read whatever we have read. You already read for ethics. You might have done some foundation, not whatever it is. You might have read some lexicon or some other book. You go through whatever I am discussing. My approach is slightly different. You might have by now understood, in the sense it's not book oriented, material oriented. It is approach oriented. Material I assume or I have observed, it comes from your normal otherwise reading, right? That's my approach. So your approach also must be, at least for next 15 days, is like this. Create the kind of orientation to look at things ethically. Write answers. Now from where this stuff will come, obviously anyway you are studying, and I'm sure you are not studying GS first time. You might have done at least 1 reading before. ऐसे नहीं कि प्री के बाद ही GS पढ़ा, ऐसा तो होगा नहीं किसी का. And then after the last lecture, keep writing daily 1 theory, 1 quote, and 1 case study daily. Nothing else is required to be done for ethics. Whatever improvement that you can do, and you have no more time than this. I know that, you know that, because the main focus is to revise optional, whichever optional you people have. डिपेंड्स ऑन दैट, लाइक हिस्ट्री होगा तो एक या 2 बार मैक्सिमम रिवाइज होगा, फिलोसॉफी साइकोलॉजी होगा तो 6-7 बार रिवाइज होगा, जैसे भी नीड ऑफ द ऑप्शनल है उसके हिसाब। so you have to put lot of efforts there, so and you know how much time you have for ethics. So if you want to practice more, every question you are adding at least half a mark, मान के चलो genuine questions, especially previous year questions, वो खत्म हो गए आगे। अगर you obviously there will be questions that I will be giving also, practice questions, that also you write. Many questions are available. I am pretty sure that questions, I think there is no dearth of questions for you. Only thing is the will and the pen and the paper and the time. ठीक है? So let's start today's lecture in the sense technically, ethics and human interface. Now this is all syllabus points only, by the way. Essence, determinants, consequences, dimensions, ethics in public private. This is exactly what syllabus talked about. We will try to get kind of our flow of our argument from the syllabus, but it will not remain restricted to it. Obviously question comes from syllabus America का, question Japan का आ जाता है, but there is a connection. क्या दिक्कत है समझ में नहीं आ रहा। Okay. What do you understand by essence? Crux. You can understand it better with the another version of this word called essential. So essence means something which is essential to that thing, right? So what is the essence of ethics? Like, what is the basis, what is the crux, as you mentioned, of ethics? Humanity can be explained it in a better way. Actually, do unto others, yes. So that is golden rule. Basically, that's why only human can be ethical. You know why human being came up with this idea of ethics?
To establish a society, like to live.
See this Darwin's thing. So any species would try to enhance or increase their number. Every species in the world try to do that compulsively. Like whatever natural factors, they will procreate more. They will try to find more conducive areas where they can procreate better. Their offsprings can survive in a better way. So, and every species has some danger from the other species. Food chain hai. Human being, there are then a lot of anthropological, biological, we got develop anthropology होगा इसमें से एक दो तो होगा ही, आपका है तो है ही, आपका भी लग रहा है, आपका लॉ है, लॉ, ज्योग्राफी, सोशियोलॉजी, निशात सर, ओके, यू डन इट अदरवाइज, ओके। तो आप करण सर लॉ तो खुद ही कर रहे होंगे बिकॉज आप एलएलबी की होंगे, एलएलएम की होंगे, आपका कहाँ से किया? ओके, एनीवे, क्योंकि ऑप्शनल का थोड़ा इम्पैक्ट तो होता है, टेक्निकल का ज्यादा होगा नहीं, ज्योग्राफी वगैरह आराम से अपना रहते हैं, एथिक्स तो कोई ज्यादा, वो एथिक्स जैसे ही पढ़ते हैं। लॉ वाले, फिलोसॉफी वाले, साइकोलॉजी वाले, उनका ज्यादा दिमाग में चलता रहता है कि ये सही गलत, क्योंकि हमारे लॉ में तो फिलोसॉफी वालों को तो फायदा भी होता है, लाइक बेनिफिट्स ऑल्सो, बट देन ओके, so the point is now, but then because of the development of brain, human being can actually do very planned things. Now when you plan means what? You can think, you can devise a plan and execute in a larger magnitude. That can be positive also, negative also. So people started planning, and that plan started destroying also others. So brain is being used to destroy human race only. It is still going on, by the way. We are doing it under the name of so many things. Religion also, terrorism, corruption, okay, and so many things, weapons of mass destruction and all, वो तो आपको सब पता ही है. So what happened? The societies, anthropology वाले को and sociology also, you also will be knowing it better, that they had their own, they started having their own agreements, that you will not do this to me, I will not do this to you. Social contract, yes. That is exactly the beginning of ethics. So that's why the golden rule, that whatever I expect others to do or / not do with me, I will reciprocate. Why? Because it is good for our own human race to survive. Otherwise, tigers are anyway coming and eating us. Elephants are anyway coming and killing us. Or famines are coming anyway. Heavy rains are coming. So natural disasters are anyway coming. We have to hold our hands. And that's why we can say not very intellectually developed golden rule. They did not have very formulated kind of model, but at least they had this sense. And then you know better that lot of complex issues with respect to the wealth, marital systems, and other sharing of wealth, morality with respect to elderly, morality with respect to so many things when we started growing together. So that got everything actually sprang from this basic rule that we have to survive as a human race. And that is coming from what? Evolution. Survival for the fittest, Darwin ने जो बोला उसी से आया हुआ है, ठीक है. Second, in our context, ethics means others have to be given more importance than self. There's always ethics like that. No ethical decision will be taken when self is given more importance than others. Any example like that? Can you give? Where self is given more important and it is ethical, you cannot beat it. How mental health is not ethical, unethical, it is aethical. So it is when there is no free will, there is no test of ethicality to be put in there. वो सिलेबस का पार्ट ही नहीं है बेसिकली एथिक्स के. Integrity means obviously for others. No, integrity with respect to what?
For example, not like the cutthroat here, or if I take 10% or change the traffic, my integrity is not a breakable.
Yes.
So I'm giving myself more importance as a person.
No, you're right in a different way. I'll tell you how. There are different types of ethical egoism, ethical altruism, technical terms hai, like from where your goodness for others is coming up. Is it because you want to be ethical egoism, that मैंने अभी तक कोई बुरा काम नहीं किया इसलिए मैं हमेशा अच्छा काम करूंगा, not because दो औरों का भला हो. बट वो भी अच्छी चीज मानी जाती है सोसाइटी में, एटलीस्ट वो तो कर लो. फॉर योर ओन सेल्फ, फॉर योर ओन सेक यू डू इट. बट एथिकल अल्ट्रुइज्म होता है कि नहीं, मेरा कुछ भी हो जाए, मेरी इवन पीपल कंसिडर मी अनएथिकल, आई विल डू इट बिकॉज आई नो इट इज गुड फॉर देम. अब्राहम लिंकन ने जो किया था वो था. उस समय एवरीबॉडी वाज लाइक, हाउ कैन यू इवन अलाउ सिविल वॉर टू हैपन? ही सेड व्हाटएवर इट इज, आई विल नॉट अलाउ दिस टू हैपन बिकॉज इट इज my conscience is not allowing to let go this thing happen. कौन सा? Slavery. ठीक है, तो वो बात अलग है, and you are absolutely on the right way. But what I'm saying is, there he himself with proper justification can convey to others after some time that what I was doing was ethical only, because it was for you only. Justification will never say that मैं अपने लिए कर रहा हूँ और ethical है, नहीं होगा. You have to convince on the basis of that I'm doing it for you, and it should be for you. It should not be cheating, that I'm saying that I'm doing it for you and doing it for someone else. That's not the case. even in the case of Abraham Lincoln. Maybe he was not able to convince that time, but then later on it was convinced that he was actually doing it for the society only. So basically, to justify something also, you have to explain, you have to depict. Will you ever be able to explain to someone that I am doing ethical by explaining that I never considered about others, I did it for myself? So, and that's my justification for ethics? No. It is always for others, right? Now, this is slightly different issue. Jada, it won't be required for your answer writing, but basically what I was talking to you, like, unless if my physical survival at stake, I will not be part of the syllabus of ethics. That's why if I don't take away the bread that a packet of bread I can see, I will die today. I just took it and ate it. It is beyond ethics or unethics. It is aethical. Okay, non-ethical. Why? Because it was my physical survival. So ethicality comes into picture when you are applying your free will. Free will is only possible when there is two choices for you. When there is no two choices, there is no ethicality involved. In fact, can choice be one? I had only one choice. It is उसको क्या बोलते हैं, misnomer है, contradiction in terms है, या और क्या बोलते हैं, oxymoron है. That's the word I was looking for. One choice. If it is one, it is not choice, it is compulsion. You can only do this. It is not a choice. भूख लगे हैं. If you are hungry, eating is not a choice. It's a compulsion. It is a physical compulsion, but it's a compulsion. So when physical survival is at stake, but generally ये इतना harsh level पे जाते नहीं है, that now this others and self, and this is larger good. Larger good means what? जो अब्राहम लिंकन का एग्जाम्पल था. Maybe somebody who is sitting next to him is not happy. Many MPs, member of parliament that time, were not happy, genuinely not happy whatever he is doing. He actually increased their suffering. Genuinely, they are not politics. Keep it aside. Many people from South America, southern part of America, who actually owned slaves, they were not happy genuinely. So, but larger good for that, and this is very important for an administrator, because when as an administrator, you please try to understand, your personal ethicality is not that important. कि आपके दोस्त को आपने मदद की या नहीं की. Your ethicality will get depicted through your conception of larger good, which needs information and understanding in addition to the good intention. Getting the point? Yes. Yes, you can say that, but not in the paper, because corruption, see, this sometimes I have been wondering, because many case studies talk like this, and it seems so many times they ask these kind of questions that you do personally these things not for your own gain. You can actually do it in the case study. Don't write it in theory, because it's very difficult to write and then explain and defend in 10 marker this aspect that you talked about. But if they are asking in case study that if you do this one thing, okay, at least 1 lakh people will be relieved from something, you do it. Why? You have justification. So it is not about some virtue based. That's why the two different approaches, utilitarianism and deontological approach. Now virtue based or deontological approach says corruption is corruption and that's it. Now tell me, if it is not for you, how it is corruption? Corruption means I am corrupt, that I am using my public office for private gain. Am I doing it for me? No. It seems as if, yes, what I am doing is, maybe along with me, some seniors are also doing it for their own gain, and I am allowing that to happen. Yes, but at what cost? Maybe 10 lakh people getting benefit of it. And this justification you can very well give in case studies without any fear. Because what I have realized is, perhaps this is exactly what they will expect. That's why I said not stand, but justification. Are you able to justify? Because you will be required to justify tomorrow. No IAS officer will be successful without doing all these gimmicks. You know already. You talk to any 2 years, like 2018-19 वाले बैच के, 14-15 वाले बैच के, 7-8 वाले बैच के, जो भी आपको अगर if you can meet and talk to them, they will personally, they will say that you are required to do it, no issues, as long as you are clean from your side, and you know you are doing it for what. Like, I'm not talking about this that you allow the corruption to happen and let the senior get corrupted. I will just save my skin. That is not a ethical thing to do. There you have to do something. You're getting the point. But where you are doing this, allowing your senior to get some money, is going to actually benefit some scheme or something, do it. Do it. What's the problem? Because anyway, or especially politicians, he is being or she is being selected by the people. It is democracy. When people say that, again, slightly digressing, कि यार लोग पागल है, किसी को भी चुन लेते हैं. This is exactly going against the democratic principle. People, then that means you are saying people don't understand what is good for them. Then why are you bringing in democracy bring in aristocracy, no? If not monarchy. So generally these kind of things also should never be kind of considered, right? That people don't understand what is right. They understand whatever it is. Yes, you always have an opportunity to enlighten them that these things you are doing wrong. That is correct. I'm not saying people are always right, but in democracy it's not about right. Yes.
Case study is about an Indian country.
But what is the connection between the hit and run and the money?
The person who died was from a poor family, but the person who was driving the car was from a rich family. So I consider the large amount of money and compensation and all these things.
Okay. Now justify. On what justification you are saying it is ethical? What is larger good? In fact, it is larger harm.
Children's education.
First of all, it's not larger good. It is some compensation. Compensation is not larger good. In fact, larger good is harmed in the way that if the person has that the Amir fellow has the rich fellow had a lot of money, he will perhaps kill 2-3 more people. So what at what stake? You're getting the point. So here it is clearly, I'm not even talking about law, because when it comes to criminal action, there is no compensation actually, there is only punishment. No criminal action, you might know it better. That's why IPC is never against, like if you murder me, it will be not against you versus my family members. It is state. So my family, even if my family members say that no, we want to take case back, no. In that case, you have to prove that he was not involved. That's another story. Once it is proven that my murder has happened and there is some evidence that he might be involved, you cannot take it back, because it's against society basically. Yeah, criminal offense, crime against society माना जाता है. So that's why वो उस केस में नहीं होगा. वो normal policies के examples जो होते हैं ना, उसमें you can do, you can bring in something like this. Integrity, this is what you were talking about. So essence में your sense of integrity, that's why integrity is very important. You know why integrity is the heading of the syllabus? Ethics, integrity and aptitude. First of all, I don't consider that is a very holistic way of writing ethics syllabus. I think वो ऐसे ही हड़ी बड़ी में they would have written something. That's what I also feel sometimes, because see, when they write Indian polity, we understand it's a well-established term, Indian history. What is ethics, integrity and aptitude? It's a subtopic. You could have written ethical studies or ethics only. Integrity, maybe they wanted to, kind of emphasize on this concept of integrity to be very crucial for the administration. I agree. Aptitude, very small concept in ethics. Not even attitude, aptitude. Aptitude is what? Your capacity of doing things. And it doesn't have much ethical this thing, but they have put it. क्या कर सकते हैं? I'm sure उनको और उस पे काम करना पड़ेगा, because syllabus भी बहुत coherent नहीं है. Because I think that is perhaps because they did not want to make it like a theory topic. इसमें historical development and this and नहीं. सीधा just जैसे हम वो we throw something like that, they will just spread it. Whichever things are relevant today, they will just study just study a little bit about it and write. So please try to understand you also in that way. Don't go into typical. See how history they have written syllabus thorough. GS, how much is syllabus? This much, and they are just random terms: international relations, citizen charter, utilization of fund, corruption, values, compassion, like that. There is no coherence, and you try whatever, you will not find coherence. हो सकता है. See, there was a demand. You are absolutely right. But this came in 2011, no, 2013. Sorry, but 2013 it came means it would have started by 2011 only, because what you are talking about happened in 2013, 12, 13, India against corruption. They would have started little bit back only. See, why they brought in? I think there was some committee who discussed about this. I don't remember the name of the committee. Even there is another committee who this second ARC report also mentions about this. Chapter 4, I guess, right? So maybe there also, they would have got something. No, we have to talk about ethics. At least talk. When somebody talks, there is some moral pressure. भाई इतने दिन से बोले जा रहा हूँ integrity. When it comes to some situation, I should be following that integrity, right? There is this topic. I don't know why they have put this topic, determinants. You search like anything, you'll never find something coherent. And not even questions you have found it. That some connection with determinants, you never find it. Very difficult to find. Some issues, some things are there, like what is the meaning of determinant? What determines ethicality? What determines ethics? What determines right and wrong? Yes. Coherence, oneness with what you say. Give what Gandhi said now, what you feel. Or see, in consciousness, conscience is the compass which tell you what is right. So your ability or your capacity to follow that right indicates integrity. So how would you determine something which is ethical or not ethical? What is the intention behind it? Because intention means will, discretion. What means, what ends were taken into consideration before doing it. Then what are the individual set of moral values? On the basis of that, your morality will be decided, right? Immediate groups, ethical values. Now, immediate groups means, because like it depends on many things. No, your group, according to the group, the smaller group, larger group. Like for example, Delhi as a larger group. Then India is the largest group for now, nation. There are something called international also, humanity, human rights, human values is coming from international things. So every group has their own ethics. It starts from smaller group to the larger one, and the largest group is international, where it has to be universal ethics. So there is something called universal. Question आया था, 2 बार आया, I think. Some people think that ethical values are subjective, change according to time and space. Not subjective, time and space. And others think that no, they are irrespective of the time and space. What is your opinion on this? This is, I think, 2014 they have asked. Basically, they are asking relativism and universalism. Don't use these terms, not required. You just required to write whether you consider that followable, every ethical value to be followed by all the human beings in the world, or it is only India specific. So some values are India specific, some values are universal in nature, right? So Yes, I already said, no, free will comes from intention, discretion. When you are writing, so intention means same, free will and discretion. Yes. Societies set ethical values. That's the tradition. So from there also many things follow. Not that everything you will only decide on the basis of morality. No. See, when there only conflict happens, no, somehow, then only you will talk about this is not my ethics, that is not my ethics. Otherwise, you will follow what society follows. Yes or no? Otherwise, you will be very incompatible to live in this society. And it happens. If somebody from your very remote distance come to the, like for example, somebody from southern part or eastern part of India come to Delhi, there is a sense of different sense of morality in small things. In the same way, if somebody from northern part goes to the southern part, they'll find some difference in the way people are being treated and things are. You go to the Western countries, you find it different, right? Like simple case, if you go to the Western country, and if you don't, like if you're a man, if you don't shake hands with woman, that lady in front of you, she will feel offended. Like you shook the hand with other male colleagues, but you did not do it with female colleague. Okay, you just did this. So she will feel offended. You come to India and do it, she may feel ulta. Why she wants to shake hands with me? It is changing because Western culture is coming. I'm saying cultural differences. So because the the group is changing, right? Universal values. The golden rule is okay. Tell me, can golden rule be considered universal ethical principle or a bedrock of all the ethics in the world? Because the very basic of ethics is the very ethics. Whatever otherwise I do in my life is my own survival, my own family survival. So it's my survival. But when it comes to somebody else's survival, it is ethics. If I'm putting somebody else before me, ethics, right? Now, consequences ethics, ye acha hai. Like why ethics? What happens if society is more ethical? Simple hai. Stable and peaceful society. That's how we started off with. Anthropology. Psychological satisfaction. You know this? When you do something good, you feel so good about it yourself. So it is generally considered, even if sometimes somebody who is not feeling good, like depression kind of things, it is advised that you do some service. Religion tells this. All the religions tells this. Thoda service karo. And then you feel better because somebody, will perhaps give you, jisko hum bolte na, dua, or some blessings. Ki you did good for me. I wish good for you, like that. Further growth happens, moral growth. Like if you do one good thing, you are inspired to do the better one. Okay. This might be question as it is, that why ethics is important. What happens if society becomes ethical? Why one should be ethical in their life? सबके points यही है, ठीक है? Continuity and consistency in the society, in the sense. Now, tell me, is punctuality considered ethical or unethical or aethical? Okay, tell me, do you think punctuality is good or bad? You? So who thinks it is relative? Everybody 100% it is punctual. Tell me, anybody thinks that punctuality is not good, it is okay. Nobody will say it is bad, but who will say that it doesn't make sense to me? You come whatever time you want. You tell 4 o'clock, come 5 o'clock, कोई issue नहीं है. Will anybody say this? Whether they will do it, I am not asking. Don't get confused. See, you considering something value. See, value is what? The word value. I value my mobile. Why? Because everything is dependent on it. I value my parents. Why? Because worth. Value means worth. Because means for me, the particular thing, person, situation is very dear to me. I have some sense of worth for that thing. But when you value something which is inspiring you to do good for others, it is ethical value. और ह्यूमन वैल्यू. वो ह्यूमन वैल्यू कल के चैप्टर में आएगा. तो वैल्यू मीन्स समथिंग यू वैल्यू. यू वैल्यू मनी, नो प्रॉब्लम, यू वैल्यू इट. एवरीबडी वैल्यूज मनी. थ्रो तो नहीं करेंगे ना, पैसा है तो आई डोंट वैल्यू, छोड़ो. बट this is material value, which is not bad, but something if you value some principle, these are abstract things. See, when I value money, what I value is this note, which can buy me good life. When I value maybe my bike, there is some emotional value, nostalgia, whatever it is. Yes. So another 10 minutes. Okay. So you value that. So basically value means what you value. Okay. In the same way, if you value some principle, now why do we call constitutional values? Because some principle is written there. What is equality? It is a principle. What kind of principle? It's an agreement. The social contract you talked about. Equality is a principle, means it is inherently an ethical principle. Means it is inherently a kind of principle wherein it is depicted that I and you agree on something. That's why every ethical value is a social contract. So universal ethical values that we talk about, honesty, it is social contract, because it is always between the two. No, ethics will never come into picture when it is about only me. Okay. So when everybody follows that, so there is a sense. I was talking about punctuality. So why punctuality is needed? Specifically, punctuality is a very classic example to explain this. There is a consistency in the behavior of the other person, so you can run your business as usual. Otherwise, you, like, how sure you were that today's class will start at 7:30? Pretty sure, because generally level up और बाकी सब और बाकी क्लासेस के भी, I'm not saying only level up, टाइम बोला है तो चलता है. If I would have come at 8 o'clock, क्या हुआ होगा? तो maybe today you will say no, maybe sir would have gotten, वो कहीं ट्रैफिक में फंसे होंगे, something. Tomorrow I came 8:15 and I'm not apologizing, I'm not explaining nothing. Third day you will be like, नहीं यहाँ पे ऐसे ही होता है. Then the sense of continuity is gone. Sense of continuity gone means sense of trust is gone. So that's why ethics is important. See, are you able to understand the same thing? You have to, उसको बोलते हैं ना कि बाल की खाल. In Hindi, it is called बाल की खाल उतारना. You know this? Have you heard this? बाल की खाल means, what philosophers would do is, even a small hair, you take away the skin of the hair. So much nuanced approach you require. In ethics, it is similar things written in a different way. And it is required because you have to expand things. But it is giving, you will always feel, and it is giving some other message from something other about ethics. Like law and order ठीक रहेगा, nobody will kill others. Like personally, I will be satisfied. I will be growing more to do good things. Continuity in the business as usual. Justice and welfare. Now here, justice and welfare in the terms of constitutional value I have taken. So justice in itself is considered to be a ethical value. So if justice is something that you don't achieve, or rather you don't demand. Basically nowadays we say we want justice, but justice is not given, justice is prevailed. Society's or government's job is that justice is prevailing. Justice, government cannot give justice, you know this. वो तो legal terms में, somebody murders somebody, then the criminal should be hanged. उसको justice हम बोलते हैं. That's actually not a justice. Justice prevailed only, yeah, legally also. But what we normally perceive that justice चाहिए, मतलब उसको भी मार दो तो justice मिल जाएगा. Justice, it is injustice. Lack of justice is injustice. But injustice cannot be achieved through any active measures unless justice is prevailed. So basically, there is you might have heard this in crime, criminal, this thing, that what we have kind of read is there is this theory of punishment that which talks about you are punished not because the sheep is stolen, you are punished because no sheep should be stolen. So मतलब क्या है, today if something is crime happened, we are punishing you not because you did this crime, we are punishing you so that no crime should be repeated like this. Deterrent punishment. Okay. So point is, it has to be prevailed, and for that ethics is required, right? And overall well-being of the society or human race. So general last हमेशा overall well-being is always a thing. Now this is again very technical. Okay, this they are not going to ask, right? अभी तक तो they have never asked, right, determinants of ethics, right, essence of ethics, right, dimensions of ethics. So why would we study in that way? We will just try to understand. In understanding these terms, we have to think other aspects. So descriptive ethics means what is ethics? Like, is punctuality ethical? Is more honesty ethical? Is vegetarianism ethical? Is non-vegetarian ethical? Is homosexuality? So descriptive ethics. What is ethics? Normative ethics means what ought to be ethical, or no, sorry, what ought to be done. It is very prescriptive in nature, right? Meta ethics, it's a philosophical thing. हमारे सिलेबस में तो कभी पूछेंगे नहीं कि ऑनेस्टी ही क्यों एथिकल है. पोस्ट ट्रुथ काइंड ऑफ, बट पोस्ट ट्रुथ इज ट्रुथ के आगे, मेटा इज ट्रुथ के पीछे. बिकॉज डेटा मेटा डेटा, फिजिक्स मेटा फिजिक्स. So ethics meta ethics, as in on what basis honesty is a good thing. It is a meta thinking. वो उतना तो पूछेंगे ही नहीं, ये तो बस ऐसे फ्लो में है, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बता रहा हूँ आपको. Normative means instructive, like prescriptive. You should not steal. So when you prescribe something, the ethical things, so the prescriptive aspect of ethics means the ethics will ask you to follow or not follow. Okay. Descriptive mein it will just explain what is ethical, what is not ethical. Like what is mostly our this thing is here. Whatever we are studying, basically our syllabus is meant for this. You know from where this is coming? This come to us from our life. दुनिया भर की चीजें. There have been people who are telling every day, ये अच्छा है, ये बुरा है. Movies, parents, relatives, everybody keeps telling you what is right, what is wrong. So normative ethics. Meta ethics. Applied ethics is usi, the part of the same thing applied to, like medical ethics are different, professional ethics are different, teaching field ethics are different. There are some ethics for that particular field are called applied ethics. Okay. Yeah, they are not going to, this is just try to just understand ethics from different dimensions. So this slide is not to be kind of remembered as it is at all. Only thing is, you just keep in mind ethics can be thought of in so many different dimensions because it has so many different dimensions. And ethics in private and public relationships, comparative. Now, how do we do this? Like in private relationships and in public relationships, values that we need to, this is important. These values you may require to kind of remember in examination hall, may not be reproducing, but taking clue from this value, you have to write something. Oh, कहाँ गया ये बहुत ही because this online focus also should be able to see, no? If it is very small, their screen won't show it. So in private relationships, because we have both the relations, family members, friends, it's a private relationship. यहाँ पे private public is not about private corporates and public fund, not like that. Public means sitting in the position of public responsibility, and private means like your friends and relatives, because many case studies also come as a asking you to maintain the private personal relation, private relation, and how would you do it? So this is what we have understood from the syllabus, because that's what the case studies have been talking about. Like your brother is doing this, your sister is doing this, your relative is doing this, like that. So responsibility, gratitude, trust, honesty, inclusivity. Whereas, so basically, when it comes to public relation, service, life, fund, that's okay. Integrity, objectivity, rationality, transparency, spirit of service. So this public means as an administrator, what your responsibilities are. Private means as a human being or as a part of the family system or closed group of a private relation, what are your responsibilities of. Sometimes, very rarely they ask questions from this, your responsibility as a father, mother, brother, sister, jo bhi hai, and some situation. Mostly they won't ask, but because they are asked you to compare, they have never asked to compare. Have you ever found whatever syllabus point, any theoretical kind of question except emotional intelligence, social intelligence? Because these are typical psychological terms. There you can clearly find what do you mean by social influence, what do you mean by emotion. Have you see, and human values and all okay, but they will never ask, as I said, what is the dimensions of ethics, essence of ethics, determinants of ethics, what is meta ethics, explain meta, nothing like that they will ask. They will straight away ask some question like patriotism means this. Does that only mean that, does patriotism only mean that going on the border and shooting the enemy? What else is the meaning of patriotism according to you? बहुत बढ़िया, very good question. Even when walking on the road, okay, something is, some thing is fallen on the road and there is dustbin nearby, putting it in is also patriotism. Because the value of patriotism has come into picture for what? So that I should put others before me. Only thing is, others means whom? Nation. Because in others also, there are my others and non-my others. You know this? Because when like I and others mein kaun aata hai? Like my family members are my others. I'm doing it for them. But there are some other others also, which are not my others. So patriotism, what patriotism does is, whole nation is that other than you. Your mother is not very different from somebody else's mother or father or brother or sister. So you do it like them, like your mother, you do it for them. So the concept is, the circle of your group of people for whom you feel responsible about should be as large as the nation itself. That is patriotism. You got the point? And then there is a sense of emotional this thing also. So this we will do tomorrow. So आज के लिए, tomorrow we'll try to finish it little faster, because today it was because that was very important for me to orient you for this way of thinking. Otherwise, if you expect this particular thing only the way you expect it from other classes in other topics, I'm saying, I'm not talking about classes, tuition, coaching, institute की नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ. Polity में जो expect करते हैं, current affairs में जो expect, यहाँ पे वैसा नहीं है. Try to think, try to bring, and I'm telling you, once you go into that zone, so many examples will appear in front of you. अरे ये तो ऐसा भी तो हुआ था, फिर ये तो यही है. Compassion, अरे वो भी तो जो मैंने किया वो भी compassion ही है, भले छोटा लग रहा है, लेकिन this is the best way. These things, if you can remember, will fetch you more marks than writing, something. And it's easy, right? So tomorrow we'll try to cover this also, lecture 2 also, and its questions also. So for today, there is no question for you, but tomorrow there will be questions. We'll discuss, right? Thank you very much. Any change, improvement, if you want to suggest, like the way we are teaching, because it's just 5 days, please tell me as early as possible. Like, sir, thoda, you can do, we can do like this. We can, any suggestion if you have, you can go ahead, because it is for you basically. For you to make mains ready, in the sense you are like ready for the mains now types. Okay. Thank you. Good night.